Then I guess superintendent comments.
Yes, been busy here in the office. With the governor's mandates this week, we've had to do a lot of changing for starting in January. And I can say that I'm proud of the staff, principals, and central office staff, because we've put together a plan in a short amount of time from the governor giving us a short amount of time to get this going. He does not want us to start until January 11th in person. So January 4th through the 8th, when we're coming back, we're still going to be virtual and small group setting, kind of like we've been doing the last few weeks. After that, on January 11th, with his mandates, making a mandate, not recommendations about how many kids you can have in the classroom, how far apart, and reducing an aggressive stance when you're in the red on the map to reduce your numbers you have to have in school. It pretty much made us not be able to do what we wanted to do. We wanted to come in soft opening, but we can't do the 6 foot part and everything else with so many people coming in at one time. Pretty much made us have to make a choice. If we want in person, there's only one way we could do it, is go to an A-B schedule. We researched a bunch of places around in the state, the ones that are doing it, and we've come up to find out what we feel like if we have to go A-B. We want them there every day in person, but we just can't do it with the new mandates and us being in red. We researched the way we feel like is the best way to see our kids more. Surrounding districts are going one group Monday and Tuesday, one group Thursday, Friday, Wednesday off. But that schedule there, a teacher don't see a kid for 5 days. That's not good for the kid, and it's not good for the teachers in that part, not good for instruction. So basically, starting January 11th, our A-B schedule will look like this. But just to clarify, if parents still feel like they want all virtual, they can keep kids all virtual. That's still an option for them. This is just for the kids that want to come in person. Students with the last name beginning with A through J will be in Group A. Group A will go in person at your schools Mondays and Thursdays. Students with last name beginning with K through Z will be in Group B. Group B will go in person at your school Tuesdays and Fridays. This will make sure the teacher sees the kids 3 to 2 days on the rotation in a 2 week. It's not that 5 day gap. Wednesdays will be all virtual. We'll do deep cleaning, make sure we clean the school well. And as long as we're in red, we'll have to do this schedule. Then when we go into orange or yellow, and eventually we can do some adding into more people. So right now, this is what we have to do. Only thing we could do for us to be able to have kids in person in our schools. That's just a short version. We will be transporting kids on January 11th on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for the kids to come. They will be there all day. When their group's there, they're there all day. We will feed them at school. We will also provide meals for virtual kids. And so this is the plan that we have to do if we want in person. It's not the best, in my opinion, for learning, but it's the best we could do to get them in person through our situation and through the mandates and regulations.
Mr. Burrow, what about the ones that's virtual? Will they still have to come to the school to pick up their feedings?
Miss Melody Chilton, are you on here? I know you were working on a plan. Do you want to share what your food plan is? Is she on here?
I thought I saw her on a little while ago, but I don't see it now.
There was a few items she was talking about with Mr. Troutman possibly doing is like if they're at school Monday, they curbside pick there, but also they can bring home food for like Tuesday and Wednesday given enough to take home with them, come back on Thursday, they get their food for Friday, that way. That's what they were planning on doing. There's a fine-tooth comb with this. They're trying to get this all situated.
Sure.
So we have the January 11th and working with the food service and make sure, but if anybody could text Melody to make sure she's on here, because I need her to explain. Mr. Trapman, have you been talking to her?
Yes, she and I have talked. We haven't finalized that plan, but yes, yesterday we did talk. She had some ideas, and I think she was trying to talk with her food service staff to finalize that and get an active plan in place.
All right.
All right.
To answer Mr. Miller's question, yes, they're doing curbside. The buses will be running, picking kids up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the virtual, it would be curbside.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions? I will be posting this as soon as I can on our Facebook page with more details. Also, there will be a one call out to the whole district at around 4 p.m. Each principal is going to do a video to shoot through their ways they talk to their kids and their parents. They're going to do a video to share. I gave you the packet earlier, what's all in it. They're going to do a video for each of their kids and parents. So hopefully I've shared with the principals that there may be a whole bunch of calls come in. So answer the calls and start answering some questions if they have questions with it. Yes, we still have virtual classes for any parent that feels it's not safe to bring their kid. They'll still do virtual. Wednesdays will be all virtual, and basically that will be a time for every teacher supposed to reach out to their kids and work with them. They will still be working virtual with the virtual kids, also with kids in the classroom. So we still have a couple weeks to work some kinks out, but we're on a good pace to have it going. We've had a lot of conversations in the last 2 days, and I think we are ready for the kids to come back to school when they do. Is there any questions from the board?
The only thing I had on it, the teachers are still having, I guess, as I'd call it, double dipping. They're having to do the virtual and the in-class at the same time on some of it. Yes,
but I think I'm going to have Miss Jody Brackett talk. I think she had a meeting with some principals. There's going to be a lot of, I know I talked to the high school principals, there's going to be a lot more live instructions too. So Ms. Brackett, would you like to share some of the meeting, what you had this morning?
Well, this morning I met with elementary principals for just a couple of minutes to talk about how we were going to do some of our interim practicals, our music, and some of those types of things. And the principals are working together to create schedules that will allow those things to happen for students as well, but also for them to be spread out over days where students are not being pulled from their core content areas too much in one day. We're really focusing on when students are in the building, how do we make sure and plan enough? One of the things other districts are telling us is that teachers are accomplishing much more than they normally would do in one day when they have maybe 10 kids in a room versus when they would have normally had 25 students in a room. So we're talking to them about make sure you're planning enough and planning good content instruction so that if you finish a lesson, you don't fly by the seat of your pants and end up wasting time, but over plan so we have good content instruction. And anything that can be done virtually, do that on the days they're at home, and make sure when they're in your classroom that you're providing the good, rigorous instruction where they need the teacher there with them and have that engagement with their peers. So I think they're working on some really good plans and going to make sure we maximize our in-person time, but we're also there to support them when they're not in classes.
Also, we have principals here. I'm going to have each one of them share a little bit what they've been thinking in their school real quick. Mr. Nelson, I saw your name first, so you wanted to share what you all been thinking about this AB schedule?
Yes, Mr. Burrow, Mr. Miller, and the rest of the board. We are looking at Mondays and Tuesdays. That will be a maroon day. So we'll cover all the maroon classes. The students that are not in person will be required to tune into a Google Meet at that time, or and every teacher is going to record their in-person instruction so that the ones at home can see that if they're not immediately available at that time. Wednesday will be our den day, where we'll touch base with every student in every class during that day of some sort. And then on Thursday and Friday will be a gold day, and it will be will mirror what we did on Monday and Tuesday, except for their other 4 classes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Foster, do you want to share what you're going to be doing in the middle school?
Yes, sir. Mainly almost like the high school, except we don't have maroon and gold days. Our group A to make sure that we're keeping education equitable and that all kids are receiving, the same amount and type of instruction. We want them to get that in person, and we know that that is what they get the most from. So we're going to, on group A, when they come in, they'll be receiving as much instruction as we can get them. And then on the days that those kids, group A, is at home, they will be continuing the same type of instruction that they received, either through an assignment, maybe an additional video, something that their teacher has assigned to them. Group B, we want them to receive the same instruction, kind of like Mr. Nelson said, the group between his 2 groups. But we want to just try to keep it as equitable as possible, but also keep them, when we have them in person, being able to actually get as much and be as rigorous as we can with the instruction. Oh, and our Wednesdays they will still receive instruction, but it'll be virtual for all of them.
Thank you, Ms. Foster.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Gatton, Ms. Calhoun.
Mr. Burrow, Mr. Miller, members of the board. At Calhoun, we are looking at grouping them as independent cohorts, as cohort A, cohort B, and running along the same lines as they had mentioned, as giving direct instruction. On A and B, we would give what we teach to A on day 1. We would also teach to B on the first day of the second group. And then when we get them back for day 2, we would look at it as a second day for each group. Wednesday, we would also look at that as a live meeting day. In the afternoons of each cohort group, we would give an opportunity for our cohort. If it was cohort A, we would allow for cohort B to log on and have like a live meeting session for cohort A and B to ask questions at the same time. On those days. So if you're at home, you still have a time that you're able to log on the days that you're not here to ask questions, so that you're not completely on your own on the days that you're not in school. So we are going to look in our schedule to let parents know that if you're in cohort B, but today's not your day, that you have this time that you can log on, that your teacher is available to answer questions at home. We're going to set a schedule similar to what we did at the beginning of the year to give out to parents for them to know the times that their students can log on every single day to get help from their teacher. Although while students are here in person, that's our primary instructional time, and we want to make sure that it's very relevant, rigorous, and important. We also want the parents to know that if it's not their day for their student to be here, that they do have a time that they can log on and still get help on the days that they're at home.
Thank you. Mr. Farley, I see you popped up, so I'll let you go, Sacramento.
Basically, we're doing the same thing as Calhoun. I do want to say this to the board. I appreciate Ms. Gatton and Ms. Ellis working, us 3 working together as far as the specials are concerned. We kind of had to rearrange some. My problem was only half of my kids are going to get music, and only half of them were going to get library if we follow the same schedule that we followed in the past, and I didn't think that was very equitable for those kids, and so they were very cooperative in allowing me to have all the itinerants on Wednesday. And so Wednesdays is going to be our specials day. We'll have reading and math instruction in the morning, and then the rest of the day will be for them to get their specials. We'll have PE on either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Thursday, Friday, whichever one, what we can work out here at the school, because our PE teacher is here at the school. But as far as regular classroom instruction, just like Ms. Gatton said, and it was a great idea, I appreciate her sharing that with us this morning, to have the cohorts and to teach each cohort like they're separate classes, like a period 1 and period 2. And I even wrote in my notes that I'm going to share with my teachers that you take each class where they are and go from there. Take each cohort and go from there. But on the days that they're not in live instruction, they'll have the opportunity, hopefully, to view the lesson that's going on, even though it might be a repeat, because our teachers will give them assignments for those days that they're off. We'll have specific times that parents can call if they're on virtual, or if it's not their cohort day, that parents and students can call and ask questions of the students. It's going to be to be honest with you, we just lacked probably maybe 10 students. We could have had everybody every day, which would have been great. But fortunately, I just gained 2 more students today, a kindergarten and a second grader. A family moved in today. And so, but I don't think that we can really, with the social distancing, I really don't think that we can have every kid every day, even though I'd like to. And so this is going to be an opportunity to have these small groups, at least every other day.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Ms. Ellis, Livermore?
Of course, ours is very similar to the other 2 elementary since we worked together this morning. The only thing that we'll be doing differently, I believe, is we're going to be using our special teachers on certain days of the week to be contacting the kids that are needing to answer questions while we have the live feed going. So we're going to use them on different days. And then our special teachers, as far as for special ed and some of those assistants and everything, are going to be actually doing different pull-out times on the Wednesday. So we'll have quite a few special population activities occurring on Wednesdays.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Thank you.
And I think each principal is going to be sharing with their people with their video by today or tomorrow. I told them I needed them out by today or tomorrow to get their video for their kiddos and their parents to share what's going on in their schools. I just want to appreciate everybody, the hard work. We haven't had much time to come up with a plan, and everybody jumped in and worked together, and it made it a whole lot easier. And it could have been hard. So I want to thank everybody that worked on this, central office to the principals. Any questions on the AB? Thank you. My next thing, my last thing I want to say, I just want to take a little time to say a few words about 2 very special people. Both have spent the majority of their lives helping kids as a teacher, coaches, mentors, board members, and leaders. Mr. Stephen Riggs and Miss Joyce Sutton, they have been with me in McLean County since I was a youngin' in the 90s, or somehow, some form of fashion. And for them to not be a part of McLean County school system is kind of hard for me to jest, because they've been here as we work together or as a board member. It's just a friend, colleagues. So this is your last board meeting, and I have a couple of gifts just to say thank you for. And I think Mr. Riggs got one, and I think Christy's coming around with Miss Joyce's. I'll wait for her to get there. She is. A couple things. They're receiving a plaque basically for their board service, and also they're receiving a lifetime athletic pass for the service they've done in McLean County. There's over probably 60 to 70 years of experience in education between these 2 people, and for us to lose that much experience, it's tough. And it's tough on me because I've never not known them to be around McLean County. So I just want to say a couple individual comments. Miss Joyce, you were a board member when I was around, and you're a board member when I was principal. I remember one day that I needed to go in the front bathroom with a toothbrush and clean the grout out of the towel because it was a little yellow. You've always been nice, supportive for me and everything you've done since the time I've been here. And you've always been supportive of the kids. Both of you are kids first people. And that's what it needs to be a board member. And Mr. Riggs, what can I say? We taught alongside each other when I first got here. Then we worked together as administrators. And I think I helped you get your first deer and turkey back in the day.
Yes, you did.
But we still hunt together, and I appreciate everything you have done for the kids, from coaching band or teaching band, mentoring kids, and being a board member. You were also the interim superintendent here and assistant superintendent. So everything here in McLean County people will always remember both of you. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you have done for the kids in McLean County and the parents in the community. And any board member would like to share anything? Or how about any, Mr. Riggs or the board member or Ms. Sutton?
I have truly enjoyed my 20 years or more with the school system. I began at Livermore School, and I'll never forget with the little Head Start children and how wonderful it was, and moved on around to get into the others. Then I went on, to Davis County and the city schools in Owensboro. But truly, my heart has always been here in McLean County and the students here. And I have never had a situation or anything that has been, that would be anything that would be very upsetting or anything that could never be worked out. And I think we have excellent students and parents and staff. And I would like to say I would be available to substitute teach, but I think we're going to do some traveling and babysitting and all kinds of things. But I tell you, there's just no place do not think like McLean County. It's a wonderful system to be in.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Joyce, thank you. And Mr. Burrows and the other members of the board. I've had the privilege to spend 24 years I'm not good at this.
We understand.
And the last 3.5 as a school board member, it has been an honor and a privilege to work with all of you all. To see people like John Farley come back, to see people like Kelly Foster move up. When I watched, of course, John was somewhere else before he came here, but when you watch Kelly come up through the ranks, and I've encouraged our superintendents from time to time to encourage folks within our system, because we do have a lot of good people working in our system, from the schools to our administrators and in our buildings, our principals, to the people in the central office. And I can say without a doubt that I have the utmost respect and gratitude for your efforts, because through these times, we all know this is not what we got into school to do, to deal with the pandemic. When we took our jobs, we came to educate kids. And I think all of you have demonstrated through the years your willingness to make that happen. And for that, I'm greatly honored. Mr. Burrows, we laughed a lot when we worked in that office. The high school is one of the toughest jobs because you catch everything. The sports is so important. The academics sometimes are downplayed. And some of the issues we dealt with, and to be honest with you, the older kids did things the younger kids didn't do. They brought in things to the building that were not good for them. They made efforts and said things, but you made the job enjoyable. You made it worth coming to every day, and so I want to thank you. And then the respect you've always given me, whether I earned it or not, you've always done that, like most of you. I mentioned John, but whether you be Carrie or Kim or Barry, and some of those, I know I've left one out, Kelly, but you've always done that, and I think that you do that. And as you do that, people will respect you. That when we do show respect, even when I didn't deserve it, I got it, and for that I thank you. As a school board member, I leave with mixed feelings. I kind of told some of them that I felt like it was time for me to go, and I would encourage the board in the next years to come. We've lost a lot of experience, and although I just had 3.5, but I witnessed for close to 15 years as an administrator, a board that worked closely together and cooperated and got along. And I would like to challenge you to continue to find ways to utilize everyone's skills on that board and not to allow individuals to carry the ball. It's not really fair to that one individual to have to always do it, but encourage all of you and work together, because we have some really good kids. We may not have the richest kids or the most brilliant, but we have kids that have always been willing to work and try. And so from the board down, I just encourage all of you to continue to do the best you can to help these kids to be successful. A few years ago, 2 years ago, we had some of the highest scores in the state. And I think that's reflective of everybody in the district working together, school board down to the lowest custodian or the bus driver or whoever it may be. We all worked together and we saw the results that we could achieve. And I think those results are achievable again. So what I would encourage you that when we get through with this pandemic, let's take what is, I consider, one of the most the most least known about school districts in Kentucky and show them what we are capable of. Because I think we are a great school district. We have so much capabilities, and that when we rise to the occasion, there's nothing we can't do. And I apologize. I do get emotional. I always have. And taking a little longer than I intended to, but it has been an honor and a pleasure. And with that, I want to thank you.
Well, Mr. Riggs, that tells that you show your heart, because that's where those tears come from. It's the heart of the time and the years of service that you've done, because I worked with you as one of the administrators for several years, and then been on the board, and it's always been a pleasure and a joy to work with you. Can never say anything but we'll miss you, but I'm sure you will do fine without us. And you got other things I know you're wanting to do too. And 3.5 years, that's not that long in one way, but another, it's, you get your feet wet very, very good, especially in the last few years we've had. And want to thank you again on it. Ms. Joel,
very much.
Want to remember you. I won't ever forget you. We've been together for 20 years, and of course I knew you even before that, and we had a lot of good times and a lot of successful times here, and then we've had some hard times, most all of us have, but I always cherish the time we've spent together on it, and all the discussions we had going to state meetings on it. We would solve a whole lot of problems while we were going up there. But I do want to wish both y'all, hope you have great futures of whatever your endeavors are, whether it's traveling or Steve with his farming, whatever it might be. But thank you. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Wendell. Steve.
Joyce, you've always made me feel at home when I came on the board, and I thank you. You were on the board when I was teaching, and I really appreciate you took me in as a board member and showed me the ropes, so thank you on that one. Steve, we talked together, then I taught under you, so I am very pleased to be able to say thank you. Thank you.
Well, John, it was a sad day when you retired, and I do know that they've missed you, and I just hope that you continue to make the same efforts as a school board member, and I know you will.
Yes.
Steve, thank you for your wisdom when it came to things that we didn't really know how to do. And good luck with future endeavors. And Miss Joyce, you're just like part of my family. You've been there through some real trying times for me, and you've always been there, but I know that you've always put the kids of McLean County first. And I thank you and I love you and I always will.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank all of you.
Mr. Miller, I just want to end by saying, yes, we do love both of you, and you're welcome. Come to see us anytime, because don't be a stranger. Thank you for what you have done.
Thank you.
I close there, Mr. Miller.
All righty. Thank you. All right. Let's see. I guess the next item would be, let's see. We want to go to construction item next. Mr. Burrow?
Yes, Mr. Troutman, you have a few on here, and I think Mr. Stokes is going to chime in on some money issues. So, or the money financial part of it too. So I'll let Mr. Troutman share on this is about our facility plan and our Calhoun project. So take it away, Mr. Troutman.
I think he also has, I think I saw Mr. Jackson's on there too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Mr. Miller, Mr. Burrow, members of the board, yes, we do have 5 different construction items. The first one would be considering approval to accept Clotfelter Samakar as the architect to serve as the architect for our local planning committee as we do our district facilities plan.
I recommend that we approve Clotfelter's Samakar, I can't even pronounce it, but to serve as architect for local planning committee for the district facility plan.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
So
Pardon.
Oh, go ahead, let Joyce.
Okay, Ms. Joyce, your name came up first anyway, so we'll give you the motion. Miss Angie, will you do the second?
Second.
All righty, second. Any other, anything else to discuss? If not, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no's. Okay, it'll be a 5-0. All right, Mr. Troutman.
Mr. Miller, Mr. Burrow, members of the board, yes. Next item would be consider approval to accept the bid for Cannon Elementary School HVAC project. I know yesterday you were given the bid sheet where it had all 3 construction firms that bid on that. It's also on the attachments if you need to see that, but I think what our recommendation would be, as well as from our architect company, of recommending Mechanical Consultants Incorporated as the contractor for this project. And we are recommending the base bid as well as the alternate one, which would specify the HVAC control equipment, more specifically getting equipment of Trane and Mitsubishi.
All right. Anyone have any questions asked? All right, if not, Mr. Burrow.
I recommend, can you put that back, that one back there, go back one, there you go. I recommend Mechanical Consultants base bid and alternate one bid also for the HVAC at Calhoun Elementary School.
Okay. Heard the recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion, Wendell.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Riggs. Need a second?
I'll second Ms. Sutton.
All right, Ms. Sutton. Thank you. Okay. If no other discussion, signify by saying yes.
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 Yeah.
Opposed? No. All right. 5-0 again. Next would be, I guess, C.
Yes, sir. Mr. Miller, if this time I'm gonna let Mr. Jackson, Scott Jackson, our architect, go over C and D. That way, if you have any questions at all, he could answer those, but I'll have him present those too, please.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
I've been muted. I just spoke up and I'm hoping you're hearing me. Am I okay? Everybody
Yes.
got
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, so there are two services now that have been broken out, mainly, building code officials would recommend it, and then Kentucky Department of Education highly recommends that we separate the testing of the HVAC system as a separate agreement directly with the board, eliminating conflicts of interest, and they're working for you as a third party now, not unlike we have surveys done by third parties, and then if there's a project that involves subsurface exploration, we always have that done as a third party independent person or independent firm. And so now for the testing and balancing of the HVAC systems, we did receive 2 quotes from Thermal Balance and from Synergy Test and Balance. And we are recommending that you accept the proposal by Thermal Balance for $10,640. And the Synergy Test and Balance was $12,885. Both firms are reputable, well qualified, and so we would have no issue certainly with Thermal Balance, and think it's a good value.
Thank you.
And is this in with part of our bid, or was this above and beyond?
This is separate from the bid. It is a line item on your BG forms, and it's always been there. We didn't highlight it, I don't think, when we talked about approving the BG forms, but we've always had it as part of the total project cost. It's always been budgeted and had its own line item.
All righty. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Miller, I recommend we accept the Thermal Balance bid for the test and balancing of Calhoun HVAC project.
All right. Heard the recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Second?
Second.
All right, Miss Angie, thank you. Okay, all in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed? No? All right, 5-0. And Mr. Jackson, are you doing the next one, or is this back to Ashley?
Yes, sir. I can talk about this one also.
All right.
A similar item, again, to get the third party testing is of the commissioning of HVAC systems, and that would be coming in after the contractors have essentially wrapped up their work, and then they basically come in and put it through its paces, so to speak. They test and make sure that when a thermostat says we need air conditioning, then it starts cooling, or if we need heat, it starts heating. So it's a third party test that everything's working the way it's supposed to work. This commissioning became more popular with the advent of the improvements to energy consumption and energy codes. Commissioning is actually now an item that's required by a building code. So it's a service that, again, is to have someone come in and make sure before you guys take over and start using the system every day to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. We had 2 quotes. We had, get to the right letter. Okay. We had a quote from Performance Commissioning Agency for $19,450. And then we had a quote from Facility Commissioning Group for $21,390. Again, both highly qualified, reputable firms. So again, we would recommend accepting the proposal from Performance Commissioning Agency.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Miller,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to recommend to approve performance commissioning bid for the proposal for commissioning of HVAC equipment at Calhoun Elementary School.
All right. Heard the recommendation. Hear a motion?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Riggs, thank you. Second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Howard, thank you. If all in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed? No. All right, 5-0. Thank you. Next.
Is this,
Very good, thank you. If I could, just one thing to interject. So those two numbers that we just accepted, that's a total of $30,090. And on our BG3 with the cost estimate that we approved at that time, we had estimated 48,000.
Good.
So we've gotten a number that's, we're 18,000 below our estimate on that number. So they worked out very well.
Good, good.
And that's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson. We appreciate you. Mr. Trapman, you have anything else?
The last item under construction would be our approving our revised BG1. Project's still the same, but we have to revise this after we have opened bids and changing contingency and obviously specifying our funding source. I know Mr. Stokes spent the better part of yesterday and most of this morning with our fiscal agent going over this. So I'm going to defer to him and let him go over these numbers that's being revised on the BG1, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board. The purpose of the BG1 is basically to identify the school that the project's at, give a description of the project and the scope of the work to be done. And then we also tell how much it's going to cost, what the costs are, and how we're paying for it. Well, the first part, nothing's changed on that. You guys have already approved a BG1 for the Calhoun HVAC, and all of the summary information is the same. However, now that we've opened bids, we have an updated cost analysis and then a equal funding sources that balance the total cost. And I don't know if we're able to put that on the screen, but I will start kind of go over this with you line by line. So our total construction cost is $1,350,700. Our architect and engineer fee $114,810. Our bond discount and fee is $27,100. Our fiscal agent fee is $14,550. And then we're doing 10% contingency. There we go. 10% contingency is 10% of the construction cost. So that's $135,070. And then as Mr. Jackson just spoke, the two items that you just approved on their line item for $30,090. And we have $6,500 for plans and printing, $5,000 for PO administration fee. And then again, dealing with our sales of bonds, our bank rating fees, $15,544.17. So all of that together gives us a total project cost of $1,699,364.17. So then, as Mr. Troutman said, I've been working actually, I think since last Thursday or Friday, trying to, once we open bids, trying to figure out, okay, so what's the best for our district and the best for our students for us to pay for this. So we're going to try to utilize as much restricted funds that we have to pay for this before we sell bonds. That way our bond sale can be lower and we can save that money for our next project at our next school. So there's several items on the funding source side. We have a cash requirement of $189,655.43. That is prior year capital outlay money. And as long as we use that, we're able to bond $345,000 of a SFCC offer. In addition to those two, we'll have to do a local bond sale of $1,010,000. It's only $1,010,000 because we're also going to use current year and carryover capital outlay money of $113,860.33. I plan on having around $2,000 in interest on this after we sell bonds from the time that we receive our bond money to the day that we have spent our last check and we're done with the project. So I'll go on and show that on our funding source because it will be money that's available. And then we're going to use residual funds or basically leftover funds from past projects. We're requesting to use this. The BG 17041 is leftover funds from the Sacramento roof project. 17090 is Livermore roof, and 17131 is central office paving. So those were the funds that were left over after those projects. So we're going to, instead of bonding more money, we're going to use those funds to help pay for this project. And when you add all of those funds together, again, it totals $1,699,364.17. And so we have it paid for. So I'm able to answer any questions. I'm sure Mr. Jackson is too, if whatever you guys want would like to know more about.
Mr. Riggs, I'm sorry, Mr. Stokes, what about the money we spent last year that we were not going, we'd already spent it. Has that been incorporated back in with this? That was our personal money, wasn't it?
Well, so that's when I read the treasurer's report here in a little bit. I spent it out of construction funds, and we're actually at a negative balance, negative 55,000 right now and change. But that money that we've already spent is part of the $114,000 architect fee that is in this BG1. So it's accounted for in this summary statement.
All right. I thought it would be, but I just wanted to clarify and make sure I understood.
Good
All
question.
right. That's the only thing I had.
No more
Anyone
questions.
else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Stokes.
I recommend we approve the revised BG1 as Mr. Stokes presented.
All right. Heard the recommendation. Do we hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve that.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bumpus. Now, how about a second?
I second Ms. Sutton.
All right, Ms. Sutton. Thank you. Motion and second made. Okay. All signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No. All right. Yeses have it. All right. Thank y'all. Let's see. Next thing would be, I guess, a consent agenda. I believe I'm still on task. Let's see, is there anything anyone wants to pull out of that? I think we'd already went through it a couple of days ago. If no one wants to pull it out,
I'm okay.
all right.
I'm fine.
All right.
I'm good with it.
All right, Mr. Burrow.
I recommend we approve the consent agenda.
Recommendation made to approve the consent agenda. Hear a motion?
Motion.
All right, Mr. Howard, thank you. Second,
Second.
Ms. Bumpus, thank you. All right, all in favor say yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no's? Okay. Yeses have it, 5-0. Thank you. Now then, we're down to the individual action items. And Mr. Stokes, I believe you're back on the hot seat again.
Yes, sir, Mr. Miller. You should have two files, one for the bills that we had attached on Tuesday, and then we did have about a half a page of add-on bills added. So as you look at those, I'm here to answer any questions.
Do we have those bills here? It's
one page.
Okay, I see it. I didn't pull it apart a while ago. Sorry.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm fine.
Me too.
I had one thing I had a question on. Let me find that. Okay. The gym floor, have we changed companies or have we changed quite some time ago of who we had to do the work? Not that I have any problem with it, but.
We did change companies from what who's done it in the past few years, Mr. Miller, got some quotes to do that, and it was about $1,200 cheaper with this company. This company was a company that redid some stuff at Livermore Elementary School when we redid the roof and had a leak, and I was very pleased with their work. So again, with the cost difference of about $1,200, decided to use this company, and the gym floor looks very good.
Didn't have a problem with it. I was thinking this is the first change we've had though since that, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Answered my questions on it.
Well, David, I didn't realize an audit cost what it cost.
Every year.
A little higher every year.
That one got me.
I wish I was better at math. I went into the wrong business.
Right.
I recommend we pay the bills.
All right. Recommendation to pay the bills. All right. Hear a motion, please.
Motion.
All right, Mr. Howard. Thank you.
Second.
All right, Mr. Riggs. Thank you. All right. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Noes? All right. 5-0 again. And let's see. Next thing, consider approval of new hire fees for background checks. I think we discussed that the other day.
Yeah, just kind of reminder, we pay for classified on our background checks on new hires. It used to be $33.25. They have and for certified and classified, they upped it to $51.25. And now people, I think it's 26 places in the state that they could get background checks, and now our new hires will have to go there.
Oh,
So to step out a little bit, when we're being a raise up to $51.25, we're still going. I'm recommending we still pay classifieds background check, but also and $25 for certified, because we didn't pay for certified before, and we'll pick up $25 for certified for new hires.
All right.
that's good.
Good. All right. Someone want to make a motion to that?
Make that motion.
All right, Ms. Bumpus, thank you. How about a second?
I'll second, Ms. Sutton.
All right, Ms. Sutton, thank you. All right, all in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Opposed? All right. See, looks like the next item be consider approval of board member representative to serve on the local planning committee.
That was John.
What?
You volunteered. I remember. I
Oh,
might
this
have
is
been sleepy, but I remember that.
maybe it's a draft.
Be happy to do it.
Thank you, thank you. It's learn a little bit more about all of our buildings on it. Most of it's good most of the time. All right, all in favor say, I'm not going to ask for recommendation there. We'll just go ahead and vote on that one. Have a motion on for Mr. Howard.
Make the motion.
All right, Mr. Riggs, second.
Second.
All right, Ms. Bumpus, I'll get you. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? You can't say no, John.
Okay. I won't.
Thank you. We appreciate you doing that. All righty. Let's see. Treasurer's report now, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board. I'd like to start off by saying I have worked with several board members in my 16 school years here, and I have greatly enjoyed every single one of them. And but I will miss Sutton and Mr. Riggs. I appreciate the things you guys have helped us do for the kids and this whole district. I've worked with a lot of districts helping mentoring or teaching across the state, and we have the finest district in Kentucky, in my opinion, and it starts at the top. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The revenues for the month of November totaled $767,884.94, and our expenditures totaled $959,825.46. That left us with a closing balance of $4,397.49. Excuse me, $4,397,049.02. Our general fund and payroll accounts total $3,155,945.88. Our special revenue fund totals $10,138.67. Our district activity funds total $36,159.57. Our capital outlay fund totals $338,372.76. And as mentioned earlier, most of that's going to go towards this Calhoun HVAC project. So that number will be diminishing as we open this project up and start paying for it. FSBK fund has a balance of $57,065.02. And our construction fund has a negative balance of $55,557.83. And again, that's for construction costs that we've previously paid, and we just have not sold bonds yet, but we are in the process and look to do that hopefully at our next board meeting. School food service, Fund 51 has a balance of $76,182.29. Our after-school program has a balance of $10,323.57. Our community ed program has a balance of $1,119.92. And our trust and agency funds total $767,299.17. And again, that totals $4,397,049.02. And Ms. Case, if you'll scroll down to the Fund 1 recap page, the big difference between this year and last year, everything is really on track, and there's nothing out of the ordinary for this month as far as Fund 1 goes, other than if you'll scroll all the way to the bottom. I try to keep the board informed on how our fund balance is doing in each month. Well, we dropped $184,000 in November. And if you, in this case, if you scroll all the way to the last page, the big difference in these two forms is last year we had a positive balance of 1.5 million. Well, the difference is we received our property tax in November of 19, and we didn't receive any property tax money until December of 19 this year. The property taxes came in a month later than normal this year. So as you're looking at this, please don't be alarmed that there's a $1.7 million difference in our fund balance trajectory over the 2 years. It's simply the timing of our property tax coming in from the sheriff's office.
Thank you for telling that.
So we did receive our property tax check this month from Mr. Frizzell and his staff, and I'll be reporting that to you next month on our December report.
All right.
But that's what the main thing I wanted to point out. And of course, as always, I'm available for any questions.
How much, do you know approximately how much that'll be?
The total check was a little over $2 million. And of course, we are required, since we participate in the FSBK fund, about 327,000 of that has to go into our FSBK account. And so that is, roughly, I'm going to tell you real quick, I'm pulling it up on my computer, what we budgeted this year for that amount was, we budgeted 2.3 million. So we still have a little ways to go, but that's the bulk of our tax. And, and that's says something about the people of this county. Most people pay their taxes and they pay them up front, and that helps obviously our government and our school system operate, and we appreciate that.
Right. Anyone have any more questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you.
All right,
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, may I speak up? I'm sorry.
Yes.
But I I think I've been through all the components I'm going to be able to contribute. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. Appreciate the ability to work with you here coming up on the district facility plan. But I'd really like to say to Ms. Sutton and to Mr. Riggs, I'm going to miss you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're still going to be there in the community, but there's very little chance I'll be bumping into you folks unless you're coming to board meetings or something. So it has been a great pleasure. You're both very professional at your position, and you've handled yourself with great grace. And I just truly enjoyed the times I've been able to come and interact with you at the various board meetings and activities where I've gotten to see you. So again, I thank you all for the opportunity and look forward to our relationship there with the district. And I'll be signing off now. Good afternoon. Have a great meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Jackson.
Yes, sir.
See you.
All right, let's see. We still need to vote on the treasurer's report.
I recommend we approve the treasurer's report as Mr. Stokes presented.
All righty. Have a motion?
Motion.
All right, Mr. Howard, thank you. A second?
Second.
Go ahead.
All righty. Ms. Bumpus? All right. All signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed? All righty. And most of the other information, personnel reports, I think we have those available to us, and along with the other things. Any board members have anything else to say?
Wendell, I would like to make a small donation to just the central office staff. I know there's a lot of days that they can't get out to go to lunch and everything, and not like in the school systems where they could go to the lunchroom. So I'll give that donation to our treasurer.
All righty. Thank you, Ms. Sutton. All right, for the last act, Ms. Sutton, would you make a motion for us to adjourn?
I certainly will. I make a motion that we adjourn.
All right, and Mr. Riggs, would you second that? All right, thank you for your last duties. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.